all.
That's true.
Well, she's Baker too, that's
Oh,
cool.
yeah, that's cool.
And Donna just texted me the other day and said, are we gonna meet somewhere for Easter, because I'm not driving all the way down here.
Jeez.
Gas is too expensive.
It's
I said,
bad.
thanks a lot, I'm only your mother.
I know. I like Tracy's house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's nice, it's on, it's pretty,
I like the fire.
the decorations. She got like a faucet in the bathroom. See it, it's open at the top.
Oh,
kinda
yeah, yeah,
neat.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Okay, anybody's first time doing this? So, anybody never done this before? Okay.
Not the personal one,
Okay.
in the group.
Oh, yeah, I got a personal, yeah.
So, every meeting works differently, so I'm just gonna explain how I work, and then I'll take 2 or 3 minutes and pray, and then I'll just get flooded with everybody. Before I became a medium, I actually thought about being a pastor. I'm actually ordained. I still do weddings though, but God led me to this work, okay? So, I'm a full channeling medium, so things can come through really fast. Please remember it's important for you guys to record, so I'm happy you guys are video recording and then you can share it with each other. When they talk about celebration life, please remember there's other people that miss your loved ones too, family and friends. So celebration life can be actions you guys have done or things that have crossed people's minds or hearts to do. So they honor and say thank you for things done and things thought about. So that's important. They will give me birth dates, passing dates, and anniversaries to honor this side and that side, friends and family. So be open for that as well. They love giving milestones, like if somebody just celebrated 40th or somebody just graduated, or if there's new babies come in, they'll tell me about that as well. That's important. But they'll also give me soul dates for the other side, birth dates, passing dates, the anniversary dates, and the ancestors on the other side as well. So if somebody's working on the ancestry, they might give me a couple of names or dates. If there's like blockages and some of the generations, sometimes they'll share and help me with that as well. Just so you guys can pass that to anybody that's tracing the history, so they can benefit from some of that information. That's happened a few times over the years, where somebody's been working on the ancestry and they're kind of stuck, and I've been able to give them names and dates that has helped them kind of open the ancestry a little bit and trace it, so that can happen. Animals can come through. It's something I do as well. 2 nights ago I was reading back-to-back groups around Baltimore, and in my evening group there was a young girl that came and she was hoping for her dog, and he came through.
Oh,
And he told me her exact tattoo that she had hidden. She pulled it up and showed everybody. And then he's like, talk about her having my collar. And she unzipped her purse and pulled his collar out in front of the group. So they'll do things like that. So 90% of the time, if you guys are hiding stuff or wearing things, they'll tell me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I just honor it, okay? But the messages are important to share, because if there's something you don't recognize, it doesn't mean family and friends haven't done it, thought about it for that loved one, or they might recognize the information that's being given, or some of the family history that you guys don't know. So just honor everything. Are you guys friends and family?
Yes.
Yeah, because I can feel the mix. Okay, good. So in the beginning, I'm going to get pretty flooded with names. Let me just work through them. It's okay if there's a couple names that you guys don't recognize. Not everybody knows their ancestry. Some people don't know past their grandparents or great-grandparents. So it is okay if I get a couple of names that nobody claims. It's still important for me to respect them. They're the older ancestors. They're here. They help with the energy. They're helping your loved ones come through. Let's say that you have like a dad that's passed, and it's your dad's your big person, but your grandmother's your second person on your heart. It could be her grandmother that's behind her. Whether you know her name, that history or not, they'll still tell me that they're here and they're helping, okay? So I'm just going to take 2 or 3 minutes and pray. You guys can pray if you choose. And then what's going to happen is they'll actually fill me with the Holy Spirit, because I'm a full channel medium. And then I just ask God and Jesus to kind of lead the session, and I always ask for what's in highest healing. So when groups attend like this, I might get one person for you, I could get two, I could get three, I never know. I just read and release their energy. I don't believe in time restraints. Most mediums that do groups like this will read for 2 hours. That is not me. It'll at least be 3, sometimes I can even get into 4. So we have the whole evening. There's never any time restraint. I just read into my guts are like they can't do it anymore. And I'll get through as many messages for you guys as I can, okay? And sometimes I end up getting everybody's hoping for, and if you're one of those people that have like 4 people in your heart, you'll probably at least get 1 or 2, so just be open to the process, okay? Okay, let me pray. They're really excited. My guys are telling me there's 107 souls joining. That's a lot for a small little group of 10. Some doubt I'm going to get flooded. When I get flooded, it's not the order they're stepping in. Everybody's kind of coming into the space. I'll probably get a good 20, 30, 40 names. We'll go into messages. As I'm moving on to messages, other people will step in. I'll probably get a whole another second group that tell me their names in a little bit. And then they'll help the second group step in for the second half. That's usually how it works. Okay. I'm going to get flooded. Thomas is the first one here. I'm just going to honor him. And as you recognize names, you guys can claim that. Remember, some of them are older ancestors. No worries. And if we went by Tom. Catherine just walked in. Hi, Kelly and Catherine. She should be claimed because they're telling me she should be recognized. Please remember, it's not just family. It could be friends that pass. It could be parents or grandparents for friends as well. But I can feel her. Frank just walked in. Hi, Kelly and Frank. William's right behind him. I'm going to call him Bill. I just know people did. Evelyn, that's different. I don't get that name very often.
Evelyn is my grandmother.
Yeah, she's like, hi, Kelly. Have you ever heard from her before, honey? So let me explain. Once they're back home with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit, they're in that higher spiritual glorified body. They're not sick anymore. There's no ailments. Everybody's under 30. So there's 7 of us in the world that do soul level work, only 2 in the United States, and I'm one of the 2. And she's like, I'm 23 here, and I'm like, good for you. So a lot of munis will teach their base 30 on the other side, and it's not true. They just haven't learned that work with the other side. So I always explain, if somebody just lost a 5-year-old child and that 5-year-old child just passed to cancer 2 weeks ago, they don't magically go from 5 to 30. They don't just gain 25 years. They're still a child. They go right back to Jesus and the other side. Do you understand it? And then there's just that state of unconditional love. So I love that she's 23. So she just walked in. Good. So she's here. She's probably making sure that I know she's here. She's probably going to have some blessings and messages for the family, but she's definitely ancestors to support other people you're hoping to hear from. And Evelyn's not a common name. I do want to call her Ev. I just know people did. Remember, that could be older ancestors or friends, but she had to say Evelyn because that's how you recognize her, honey, okay? Dorothy just walked in. Hi, Kelly and Dorothy. I want to call her daughter Dottie. I know she's here as well. Yeah, I'm going to get flooded. Paul's here. Hi, Kelly and Paul. David just stepped in. Hi, Kelly and David. I do want to call him Dave. I just know some people did as well. Richard. They stopped me on Richard. So that's, I know he should be claimed as well, but I'm just going to respect him because he may be a message for you guys to even pass to somebody. So we'll wait and see if I get him a little bit later. Charles just stepped in. Hi, Kelly and Charles. He should be claimed as well.
That's probably my Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here. Good. So that's okay. He's
He
like,
shows up every time.
good. He's an interesting soul.
Yes.
He can be a supportive person with your grandmother Evelyn. No worries, honey, okay? But I love him getting your grandmother for the first time, especially if you've heard from your uncle before. Always get proper name. He's interesting. Yeah, his energy's a little all over the place. We'll honor him, okay?
David you mentioned.
He's fun. Do you recognize David? Good, perfect. Does anybody else recognize any other names?
Yeah, Dorothy Dottie was my
She
sister's
said-
mother.
I had an Evelyn, but she went by Patsy, and I had a Dottie, which was her, I think, relative.
Okay, we'll take our time to piggybacking. It's definitely her grandmother, but we'll wait and see. Because if that Evelyn is not a big soul for you, it's okay if she's here too. She would say Patsy to me if she would have went by Patsy, but it doesn't mean she's not one of the 107, but she's not that big soul for you, honey, okay? George just stepped in. Hi, Kelly and George. I'm going to honor him. Wayne, that's different. I don't get that often, so I'm going to honor that he's here. There's a lady by the name of Sarah. Nobody recognizes Sarah. She feels older generation. Okay, never mind. They're telling me she's been gone 102 years. So she's way back. She's been gone over 100 years. So she's just a matriarch helping. Mildred just walked in. Hi, Kelly and Mildred. I'm going to get flooded for a little bit. They're just excited. Anne's here. Hi, Kelly and Anne.
My mom was singing.
Yeah, she's the big soul for you. She's like, I'm her big person. Do you understand it? So I know she's a big person, but it's okay that Charles and Evelyn are helping her. Do you understand? She's the person you came to talk to. Because she just keeps saying to me she's your person today. How are you guys connected?
I caught her into so it's
Oh.
fine.
Huh?
I caught her into before this. I'm her
Yeah.
daughter.
Good, because I kept hearing she's excited about talking to both of you. Do you understand? Good. So she's that big soul for you guys. There's a miscarried baby with her, honey. Do you understand the miscarriage? I can feel the baby. Has that ever been validated before?
With my mother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was before I was born.
Yeah.
Or between me
But
and my
have you
sister.
ever found out if it was a boy or girl? Have they
No.
ever validated? I'm going to get the information today.
Oh, okay.
Have you communicated with your mom before?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because she's like, I've done this before, but they make me feel like there's a new validation with the miscarriage. Do you understand it? Good. So if you guys never found out if it was a boy or girl, or if there's information the family doesn't know, they'll tell me about it. Do you understand it? Early pregnancy, honey? Was it early pregnancy for her?
Yes.
Good, perfect, good, because I hear early pregnancy. And they just make me feel like she never knew if it was a boy or girl.
Right.
Do you understand? Baby boy, it's a brother. So he's there with her. So they'll tell me, okay, good. She has him. Also, she's saying to me he's one of the souls that was there to help her transition. And she had a chance to actually meet his soul when those last breaths were taken and they took her into the light. That's wonderful. Sometimes they'll make me feel crossover transitional work. Who was there to greet them? Your mom's very loving, very strong backbone. Do you understand it? Yeah, we'll get there. Good. So I already felt her personality. I love that she's here. She's also saying to me she's never had a chance to say how young she is on the other side. So you saw somebody who didn't do the soul level work. Do you understand it? Or just didn't have a chance to do it at that time. And she's like, I'm 18. I'm like, oh, good for you.
Good for her. Yes.
She's very strong-willed. Do you understand it? It's like when she said something, but she also was very loving as much as she could be. But real strong backbone, very solid, matriarch for the family. I could just feel that presence. As I always get their name, their personality, they'll make me feel their soul age. We'll get into the passing, what happened with the passing, all that stuff you guys have kept in honor, signs she's sending. I do hear she sends cardinals all the time, watch for the cardinals. If you've been watching for those or you guys felt like it was her, that's great validation. She sends her butterflies. I want her to pay attention to butterflies. She's like, I need her to pay attention to butterflies. It's one of the ways I come through. That's her channeling through me, okay? So when I go into that really fast channel and I just start to talk like that, they're taking over a little bit. I don't allow them to enter my physical body, but I relax enough for them to speak through me. And it's only allowed because they feel me, the Holy Spirit. Just because of my work as far as thinking about being a pastor and the work that I do with Jesus, so they allow it. All right, let me get a couple more names and I'm just going to get flooded with you guys. Fran just stepped in. Hi, Kelly, I'm Fran. So I'm going to honor her. Rose just said hello. Hi, Kelly, I'm Rose. Virginia, if anybody recognizes Virginia. She's here. She should be claimed. So I'm going to honor her because she may be a message for you guys to pass, and that's okay. Agnes. Hi, Kelly, I'm Agnes. Call me Aggie. Robert just walked in. Hi, Kelly, call me Bob. He's here as well. There's a gentleman, so I'm going to call him like Tut or Tutty, so I'm not being told if the proper name was Theodore, but I can hear him saying Tut or Tutty. He should be recognized. Good. How do you recognize him?
He's my uncle Dave.
Good. He's like, I'm one generation up. Do you understand it? So I know he sits in that generation up. Good. He's here. Even if you wouldn't expect him, he may have messages for you to share with the family, or he might just be another supportive soul.
Right.
And Ted and Teddy's not a common name, but he's like, call me Ted, call me Teddy, and then they had to say one generation. Good. So he's here as well, okay? Ruth just walked in. Hi, Kelly and Ruth. Margaret's here. Hi, Kelly and Margaret. Ellen. Hi, Kelly and Ellen. So I'm going to honor her. She feels like an aunt. I know she's a few generations back mom's side. I'm just going to welcome and honor her. Ruth just walked in. If anybody recognizes Ruth, I can hear her. Yeah, I'm going to get flooded. Ray. Hi, Kelly and Ray.
We have a Ray over here
Yeah.
too.
Good. He's here
Judy's
too.
husband.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like, hi, Kelly, I'm Ray. So he may have messages for
Hey,
you
Ray.
guys, to share.
A lot of people mistake me for him.
You know what he just said? Because he's behind you, and channeling, they can just answer right back. It's one of the
Got
reasons I
white
love
hair.
it.
His disco dad
You know what
on
he
his
just said?
funeral day.
You know what he just said? That's not a bad thing.
That's right. He would say
He
something
said,
like
Kelly,
that.
that's not a bad thing. So you would expect him to say that with his personality. It's just one of the ways he proved himself.
Yes,
Oh.
that's
I said,
not
Ray,
a
how
bad
old
thing.
are
You do to Judy.
I love
I
it.
s- yeah, he said, Ray, I said, Ray, how old are you there? He said, 19 again, Kelly, tell them I'm young. Good.
Oh,
So we'll wait and see
19.
if I get messages from him, okay? He was sick for some time. He didn't really take care of his health. It was a little bit more sudden in the end. I can just feel it. Do you guys understand that? Good. So we'll probably get to him in a little bit because I'm already feeling it. But I love he's 19. He's got, interesting, really big heart, watched out for other people. There's a lot of sarcasm with him. Just means he had a light sense of humor. So he just proved that with his personality. Do you understand it? Good. So I'm hoping I'll catch him. And it's okay for him to support your other loved ones. But we'll wait and see if there's a message for you guys to share with his family at some point. Okay. Beverly, if anybody recognizes her, I can hear her. Shirley's here if anybody recognizes Shirley.
Beverly's my mother.
Yeah, she's like, hi, Shirley,
Shirley's
call me
your
Bev.
Mm-hmm,
Are
Bev.
you hoping for her, honey?
Yeah,
Is
kinda.
this your first chance to talk to her?
This is the first time I've
Yeah,
talked to her.
she's like, tell my son I'm 25. Good.
At 25,
She's 25 again.
my
Shir-
father used to have a tattoo on his arm with her name on it.
Wonder- Good. She said, they don't have tattoos on the other side, but she's saying to me she always got a kick out of that. Good, I love that. If anybody recognizes Shirley, I'm just going to honor her. Pat just walked in. Hi, Kelly, I'm Pat. There's a gentleman by the name of Lou. Hi, Kelly, I'm Lou.
That was my father-in-law.
He's here. They made me look at you before you even started talking, and I heard, I'm on this side of the room. He may piggyback with your mom. First time to talk to him, honey?
No, he came through on
Okay,
another
Just
meeting.
asking, because they're telling me I'm going to get flooded with him if I have a chance. So if he only said a little
Him
bit,
and Charlie are brothers.
good. If he only said a little bit, that's okay, good. Because he's like, hi, Kelly, I'm Lou. So he's kind of joining the crowd a little bit, which is great. Barbara, hi, Kelly, I'm Barbara. I'm going to honor her. Kathleen, that's different. I don't get that very often. Helen's here. Hi, Kelly, I'm Helen. There's a lady by the name of Pearl. Kenneth, he just
That's
walked
me.
in. Were you hoping for him, honey?
Oh, Lisa. My
Yeah.
dad.
He's like, hi Kelly, I'm kinda good. So we'll wait and see where this piggybacking with Beverly and Ray and that whole gang for you guys comes in, okay? Have you heard from him before, honey?
Yes,
I wanna call him Ken and Kenny, I just know he
that's
went by
right,
both
that's
names.
right.
But has he never given his soul age before?
No.
20. He's
Okay.
like, I'm 20. Okay, but
He's having a good time.
he said, I did when I was there. That's him
That's
answering
right.
back. Do you
That's
understand it? Good. He's very fun-hearted. Do you understand it? Really found joy in every day he could, but he was very simplistic, very humble, a little reserved. Do you understand it? Good. But there's a little bit of a free spirit inside him too. Do you understand? Good. So just feeling that personality trait,
Guitar.
which is, what'd you say, honey?
Play guitar all the time. They know him as the guitar.
You know what he just said to me? You should hear me now.
He said what?
You should hear me now.
He said you should hear me now.
Okay.
Just means he's saying to me he's had a chance to actually master other instruments on the other side, so he just answered you back.
All right.
So there's probably other instruments he wanted to learn besides the guitar that he didn't have a chance to fully learn, and he's had a chance to learn them there. So I love that. So we'll get there, okay? Anytime they're musicians, so they should make me feel those instruments. It's okay, you said it. So he just told me, he just answered back, which is really great. I didn't hear if she was Claire or Clara, because I was still finishing with Kenny, but she just walked in.
Clara,
Uh-huh.
it's my grandmother.
She's here. Good. So they're just lining up. And she's never done this or come through before because she's like, Kelly, I haven't had a chance to give a message and I've been here a long time. She actually serves as a matriarch. She's 28 years old. She serves as a matriarch on that side of the family. So people transition. She's one of the first people to greet them. So she's always there for the younger generation. She's 28 years old. She sends hummingbirds. So they just put me in fast channel. So I want you guys to watch for the hummingbirds from her, and then she might help your mom Bev and Kenny and some of these big souls for you. And then Ray and this uncle are just extra blessings. Do you understand it? Good. Okay. A few more names and then we'll begin. Henry just said hi Kelly and Henry, so we'll honor him. Ralph just walked in, hi Kelly and Ralph. Norman's right behind, hi Kelly, call me Norm. That's a different name, I don't get that very often.
I have an uncle named Norm.
Good, because he's like, call me Norm. That's okay. He's probably
Okay.
just a helping soul, honey.
Okay.
Pauline's here. Hi, Kelly and Pauline. I looked right at you. Were you hoping for her, honey?
Grandmother.
She's like, tell her I'm here. Have you ever heard from her before?
Yes.
Good. She's like, this isn't my first time, so she's telling me. She's fun. Good. She's got a little sass, but she's loving. Do you understand that? Just being straightforward, very honest. Do you understand it? Good. And I can just feel that loyalty when she spoke. She's a sweet soul. She one of the big angels you always depend on. If not, I need you to know she is.
Okay.
Because she's saying to me, I'm one of her big I'm
one.
one of her big angels, Kelly, and I have some things to say to her. So there might be some soul shifting with how she's stepping in to be a little bit more of a spiritual guardian or somebody that's with you a little bit more stronger now and guiding you in your life. And so sometimes they want you guys to know that they're with you in spirit more than you realize. And it just means let your heart open to the connections, lean on her a little bit more. So we'll get to her once I start, okay? Betty just said hi, Kelly and Betty. Michael's here if anybody recognizes Michael. Michael should be claimed. I'm going to honor him because he might be a message for you guys to share with friends or family because it can be their friends or family as well. So if somebody has a life moment about him later, we'll come back to him. John just said hi, Kelly and John. Jack is right behind him. There's a lady by the name of Rita. That's unusual.
That's me.
Yeah,
That's my mom.
she's like, hi Kelly, I'm Rita, now I'm joining. Mom and Dad are your big souls you're hoping for. Do you understand that? Good. And Rita's such an uncommon name, but she just walked right in and said, hi Kelly, I'm Rita. Do you understand it? So I'm probably going to get the piggybacking between her and your dad Kenny and Beverly with his grandmother. And then we'll wait and see if some of these uncles or Ray comes in.
Actually,
But they're your-
Clara was my dad's mother.
Yeah.
Beverly was my
Yeah,
mom.
yes, she can be either side, honey. She's just here with your mom Beverly, so I know that they're both here. Do you understand it? So she might be that person that for dad's side coming through with your mom Beverly, and then Rita's gonna piggyback with Kenny. Good. They don't have to be the same side. They just both love him because she's that big soul for that grandmother energy. There's also a mention of Zachary that's different. I don't get that often, so I'm just gonna honor him. He might be way back through somebody's history, so that's okay.
That's mine.
Good. How do you recognize that, honey?
Great
Good,
grandfather.
'cause he's like, I'm way back through the history, and Zachary's not a common name. but he might be one of those ancestors helping your loved ones come through, okay? So he just said he's here, and especially if you guys haven't heard from him, I'll wait, and sometimes he'll tell me names of people they're watching over or situations in the family, so he's probably just a supportive soul, okay? Daniel's here, if anybody recognizes Daniel, I'm gonna honor him. Louise, if anybody recognizes Louise, she just walked in. Ethel's here as well, hi Kelly, I'm Ethel. Mary, if anybody recognizes Mary, she just stepped forward. Joan, hi Kelly, I'm Joan. There's a lady by the name of Linda. Yeah, I'm gonna get through the first 50 names just in this group before we actually fully begin. But the more people that step in, I can go into fast channel and really start to piggyback, and other people will start to join. So there's a reason why they're doing it. There's a gentleman telling me to call him Les, so I'm gonna honor him. It's not the proper name. I didn't hear if it was Leslie or Lester. I just know that he went by Les. Philip, I'm gonna call him Phil. Ronald, if anybody recognizes
My
Ronald.
dad.
He's like, hi Kelly, I'm Ronald, now I'm here. Good. Did they call him Ronnie or Ron?
Ron.
Good, because he's like, shorten my name, and I'm like, I hear you. So he's gonna come in with your mom Beverly, and then we'll wait and see what blessings I get from your mom. So both parents for you guys, they're really excited. Daniel, if anybody recognizes Daniel, I can hear him. That's a family namesake that's carried back, so there's 2 Daniels here, so I'm just gonna honor that really quick. Roger, that's unusual, I can hear that often.
Mine.
Good, how do you recognize him, honey?
It's my dad.
Good, he's like, I'm one of 2 big people for her, Kelly. And he's like, you can call me Raj, some people did. Good, have you ever heard from him before?
Mm-mm.
Good, he's excited. I said, Roger, how old are you there? He said, 27. Good. So, again, such an uncommon name, but he's like, call me Raj. And whether that was family, friends, or both, I'm just getting that nickname from him, which is wonderful. He's excited about talking to you. Were you hoping to talk to him?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand him telling me you guys didn't get the goodbye you deserved?
Pardon me?
Do you understand him saying to me that you didn't get the goodbye you deserved?
Yeah.
Okay, I already feel that. We'll get into that subject in a little bit when it's his turn. He's like, Kelly, one of the reasons I'm here, I know my daughter really wants to talk to me. There's a lot she's carried since my passing. We didn't get the goodbye we deserve. So he's just channeling through me. So that's his words. And I know you understand that, honey.
Mm-hmm.
He just put Blue Jays on your shoulders. I want you to watch for the Blue Jays. It's one of the ways it comes through. I'm going to get flooded with him. Good. So he's just introducing, okay? Just a few more names and we'll begin. We're definitely starting here with you guys. Then we'll work around the room. And that's okay. But I love that that grandfather Zachary's helping him come through, and he doesn't have to be same side. He can be or can't be, okay? Also, there's the lady by the name of Ida, if anybody recognizes her. She just walked in. We'll wait and see if she piggybacks with Pauline, honey, okay? Were you wondering if she would show up? No. She's like, I'm a surprise, but I can still come here. And I'm like, honey, everybody's welcome. Because she's like, I'm a surprise. I'm like, wonderful, good. So she's here. Phyllis just stepped in. Hi, Kelly, I'm Phyllis. Dolores, if anybody recognizes Dolores.
My grandmother.
She's
Beverly's mother.
Good, so both
Doris
of them,
is.
yeah, both of them are here, good. I also hear this mention and validation and acknowledgement. This is interesting, Regina, I don't get that name very often, so I'm gonna honor her.
That's my
How do you recognize Regina, honey?
great grandmother.
That's interesting, she's like, hi Kelly, I'm Regina. Such an unusual name, that's fantastic. Good, so she's here as well. Marie, if anybody recognizes Marie, she just walked in. There's a lady told me to call her Fran, and I know they called her Fran and Franny. So I didn't care if it was Francine or Frances, I just got that she went by Fran. So if anybody claims her, let me know. I knew she's back through the history just a little bit, but I still want to honor her. Okay, aunt and mom's side for somebody, even if she's a couple generations back. Larry just stepped forward, hi Kelly and Larry. Proper name Lawrence. Edith just stepped in, hi Kelly and Edith. There's a lady by the name of Gertrude. I'm gonna call her like Gerda Gertie, I just knew she went by both. Just a
It
few more
could be.
names. Just a few more names.
I don't know my great-great-grandparents either.
That's okay, no worries. There's also a mention of Samuel. Jean just stepped in, hi Kelly and Jean. Walter's here, if anybody recognizes him, he went by Walt. Harry, I don't get that often either, Harry.
You said Walter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a family, it's a friend's maybe.
That's
father.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can still be here, honey, for you to
Okay.
pass messages. They
Okay.
won't take away from your loved ones, but if I get him, it'll just be an added blessing.
My
Okay?
other grandfather's name was Walter as well.
Okay, good, good. Bernard, if anybody recognizes him, he would have went by Burner Bernie. He's here.
I know Bernie,
Good. He's like, hi Kelly, I'm Bernie.
my husband's uncle.
He's here. Good. Yeah, they're telling me he belongs to you. He might just be a supportive person. So we'll wait and
Okay.
see if we get some family members from that side. Donald, if anybody recognizes him, he just walked right in. He's standing behind your shoulder, honey. How do you recognize him?
He is my uncle.
Good. Because he's like, Kelly, I'm hoping that she'll pass messages for me, but I'm not her number one, but I'm here. Do you understand it? Okay, perfect. And then I hear mom's right behind him.
My mom?
Do you understand it?
Yes.
Are you hoping for her?
Yes.
He's like, I'm helping her come through. And
Yeah.
he's like, tell her mom's right behind me. Is mom the big person on your heart today?
Yeah, both my parents have.
Good, we'll take our time. It just means I feel her first. We'll wait and see if dad steps in. I just know your uncle's helping them, so that's okay. And he's like, you can call me Dawn if you want to.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, Dawn, how old are you there, honey? He said, 29.
Good
He's-
for him.
He's got some stubbornness with him.
Oh, yeah.
Look, once they're on the other side, they're in that state of unconditional love. There's no anger, there's no judgment, that personality, like all that ego stuff is shed, right? As far as decisions and stuff they would have made here. So he's in that state of unconditional love. But I'll feel their personality when they were here, and it's just complete stubbornness with them. It's okay for him to admit that now on a soul level. Do you understand it? Do you understand the dementia issues, memory complications?
Yes.
Dementia, Alzheimer's, good.
Yes.
There's just people lining up. There's like a whole big line of 6 people. So both your parents are here because they already told me mom was here, and I heard yes, dad's here too. And I just know there was memory issues. So we'll get there, honey, okay? Because I'm just starting to feel and sense them as they walk in, and they'll get super flooded and we'll get super strong. Elizabeth, hi Kelly and Elizabeth. There's a lady by the name of Lillian, if anybody recognizes her. Joseph, hi Kelly, call me Joe. See your big person?
He was my grandfather.
He's like, I'm here for her. That's okay. Even if he's not the number one person, he has messages for you because he might be one of your angels, honey. Who else were you hoping for?
My grandmother.
Good. I heard I'm the first one to tell her we're both here. So it's okay if I catch him, whether they piggyback now or she steps in later, honey, okay? Good. All right, just a few more names. Darlene, that's unusual, I don't get that often. Nancy just said hello. Hi, Kelly and Nancy. Josephine, I'm going to call her Josie, I just know people did. Carol's right behind her. Bertha, that's unusual, I don't hear that one often either. She's pretty perfect at history, so I just want to respect her. Grace is here. Hi, Kelly and Grace. All right, they're telling me just a few more and we're actually going to start. I didn't expect to get so flooded, but 70% of the people that are coming through already gave me their names, so that's okay. And we'll get some of those big souls for you guys in a couple of minutes, or halfway through the session. Peter, I want to call him Pete. Jerry's here as well. Hi, Kelly and Jerry.
And Uncle Jerry.
Good. Arnold, that's unusual. I don't get that often. I want to call him Arnie. I just know people did. He's back somebody's history, but I still want to respect him. Sadie, if anybody recognizes her. Hi, Kelly and Sadie.
Your grandmother?
Yeah, she just walked in. She's going to be one of those souls like Uncle Donald helping your mom and dad. Do you understand it? And Sadie's such an uncommon name. So she serves as one of those matriarchs.
Old
Good.
names, I like
Yeah.
names.
I'm asking her how old she is, and she said 23.
That's great.
Okay. She's been gone some time.
Yeah, she
She's like,
has.
Kelly, I've been here a long time. So she's definitely
Very
serving
long
as a
time.
matriarch. By the way, they're also telling me she's an animal breeder for that side of the family. So as you guys lose animals, she's that soul that helps them
That's a good
to
job.
transition and watches over them for you guys until you have a chance to be there with them again. So she's the animal breeder for that side. Watch for the doves. She has all these doves around her, and she's like, Kelly, tell them if they see the doves, it's me. It's one of the ways I come through. I do hear about the pearl still being here, the old heirloom Bible that has the birth dates and passing dates in it from ancestors. There's still religious big medals and big figurines as well, including angels, crosses, and then there's an antique cross still in her honor. Do you understand all that?
Yes.
I just got flooded. It's so different being a channeling medium because it's like watching a movie and then I just channel super fast. but she loves all those pieces are here in honor of her, so I just got flooded with it. Now, she's one of the souls that could literally step in and probably talk to me for like 2 hours. She's not going to do that because she's so strong, but she had such a strong faith. Do you understand?
Yes.
And there's Catholicism up the one side of the family because I can feel Catholicism up the one side of the family, and I know there's passed on rosaries, and there's Catholics back through the one
Yes.
side of history. Do you understand it?
One side,
So
yes.
both sides are coming in, so that's okay. But I love that I just got that from her. She may piggyback with mom and dad, we'll wait and see, especially with her being a grandmother, but I can just feel her personality. Sadie's such an uncommon name. I love, she said, watch for the doves. Part of the reason she sent doves too is she serves as that peacemaker on the other side. So she's the peacemaker for you guys. And then I know that there's a lot more through the history as far as stuff that's been passed down, but I don't want her to take away from mom and dad, and she's not going to do that. But if she comes in with them and I get her standing behind them, and then I get flooded really fast with some of those heirloom pieces that are here, it'll just be a added blessing a little bit, okay? All right, just a few rings. They're excited. There's a lady told me, I can't tell if it's Tessie or Tessa, 'cause she's like, call me Tess. Okay, she's way back through somebody's history. Now she might be going 100, 200 years. So I'm just going to honor her presence because it's such an unusual name. There's a gentleman by the name of Eugene. I call him Eugene. There's a lady by the name of Wilma. That's unusual. Irma's here. I call him Irma. Olivia, if anybody recognizes her. Jane, I call him Jane. James is here, I want to call him Jim. Were you hoping for him?
He came through last time.
That's okay,
He
he's
has,
here.
he has a lot to say.
He said, Kelly, my stories and conversations never end. That's what he just said to me, so I'm just gonna honor him, okay? No worries. Roland, if anybody recognizes Roland, I can hear him. There's a lady telling me to call her Penny, that's unusual. With their nickname or proper, I can hear her. Albert, I want to call him Al. There's a lady by the name of Brenda. Didn't hear if it was Diane or Diana because I was hearing Brenda, but I felt the D-I-A-N. She might be a message for you guys to pass to somebody. Late 50s, breast cancer started to spread through the body into lymph nodes and brain. Somebody here knows family or friends to her, so I'm just going to honor her. And I hear her saying everybody called her Di. She has reddish brown hair, it was kind of curly, she wore glasses, left behind a husband and 2 daughters. Her oldest daughter is Jessica. That's all I got. But I'll get that amount of detail because all that needs to match. But remember, she could even be a friend or family member for someone you guys work with. But messages like that happen. I was reading in California a couple months ago. That's where Jeff and I live, so I'm not too far from you guys. And I was reading a group of about 70 people. And this little girl came in just dancing in the room, and she's like, "Hi Kelly, I'm Samantha, call me Sam." She told me she was 6 years old, passed leukemia, gave me the month of September, March for birthday and passing dates. And then I felt like I was in New York, and then I just got flooded with all these things that they had done in her honor. Within like a day or two, I got a message. Somebody was in that group and said, "I understood everything you said. I used to live in New York. We danced with her. My older sister was one of her best friends in the dance studio." Do you understand it? And it was. She was 6 years old. She passed to leukemia. The birthday and passing dates were September and March, and the message was able to be passed. And from what I found out afterwards, she's been gone over 30 years. So she was 6 years old and passed leukemia. So she was able to share that with her older sister, and then her older sister was able to contact the family to give them peace about that child. So messages like that happen where I just got that fast channel, but every single detail has to match, okay? All right, so this is where we're going to start, because I'm going to start, I'll get some of their names and other people stepping in as we go. So I'm just waiting to see who we're going to start with, because we're definitely starting right here. I do hear a lady by the name of Marilyn though, so I just want to honor her really quick. There's also a lady by the name of Laverne, that's different. And Cynthia, if anybody recognizes Cynthia. Okay, good. All 3 of those ladies just walked in. Especially with me having 107 souls. I might end up naming almost every one of them, so that could happen possibly. Alright, I'm waiting to see if I'm gonna start hearing her. I might actually start going back and forth with you guys,
Oh,
and that's okay. What'd you say?
I said, oh, what fun.
That can
It's a
happen.
kissing game.
That can happen. Sometimes I go back and forth, and that's okay. Over here with this Uncle Charlie being here, and then some of the people that are lining up. Even though like Mom's that big soul, do you understand it? And then I felt like both these gentlemen, as far as like that father-in-law presence, do you understand it? And then Evelyn, I'm just getting so sick to my stomach with cancer. I can feel it. Do you understand the cancer? Kelly, it was cancer for me. I wasn't expecting a diagnosis. Do you understand? And I can hear Mom validating. Do you understand it? Good. Do you understand the cancer complications? Good. Is I can just feel the cancer run through my body. And a lot of times when somebody gets that diagnosis of cancer, sometimes it's a little bit unexpected. Do you understand that, honey? Because I never expected it. And then I heard I wasn't feeling like myself, Kelly, but I never expected that 6-letter word. And I'm like, I hear you. They did everything they could to help me through the cancer. It was faster and progressive more than I thought. They never left my side. I didn't expect to leave as soon as I did, but I made the moments count when I was there. That's just the channel. Do you understand it? Good. And it's one of the reasons I love being a channel medium, because it's literally like that conversation from the other side. I don't work off the symbols like other mediums do. It's the full connection. Your mom's so sweet. And I love her seeing the cardinal. She's talking about wearing her jewelry. Do you wear it often?
No.
Okay. Even if you don't, she's saying, talk to my daughter about wearing my jewelry. So even if you have a couple pieces, it's her way of giving the blessing that it's okay for you guys to do. Some people get afraid of that, or they have it in safekeeping and they don't want anything to happen to it. Do you understand it? So it's her way of giving the blessings to move forward with it. Even if you thought about slowly passing it down or making changes to the sizes or turning it into pieces so you can wear it, it's her way of saying it's okay to do that now. Do you understand it, honey? That's what it's about. She is talking about having her handwriting though. She's like, my handwriting's there. She's happy you guys have it. Good. I also hear her mentioning to me about going back through old photos, reorganizing photo albums, making changes to the photos, and it's okay to start copying them or sharing them through the family. So if you guys have done that or thought about that, there's a blessing for that. Is that your birthday for October?
That was the month she passed.
Okay, good. There's also a birthday as well. So she wanted to make sure I got that, and then I hear her doing a happy belated birthday for October. Remember, they'll piggyback, so I have to get the birthday as well. So she's giving me October, not only honor the soul date, because that's a date for you guys to watch for, because she'll send that number to you besides the cardinal. She's like, tired to watch for my October soul date. But remember, it can also honor a milestone of one of the ancestors with them. So I know that'll make sense later, honey, okay? There's a happy early birthday for July. She said, I'm not going to miss the birthday in July. That's important. And I keep hearing about going back to school to get the master's, or them giving the blessing about the master's degree. So someone in the film is thinking about that. Please remember, with your grandmother Evelyn here, all these birthday blessings can go through the family into cousins and their children. And I keep hearing the master's degree is being thought about. We're watching over Kelly. We're giving the blessing. If it's chosen, we'll be there. That's Evelyn channeling through me. Okay, so I just want you to share that, because somebody's in the process of making that decision or getting ready to start that, and they want them to know that there's full support, but it's coming from Evelyn. But if you understand the personal stuff from Mom, that's great. You'll figure out the milestone in October, because it can honor those older ancestors. Do you understand them saying to you, you know a little bit more history of one side than the other, and there's more to trace? Good, so like Kelly, they know a lot more history of one side of the family than they do the other, and there's a lot more ancestry to trace. They're talking about doing the DNA or doing the DNA testing. So if you guys did that or thought about that, you have full support. Plus, they'll tell me, if you guys have old photos or old black and whites and you can't figure out who the people are in the pictures, a lot of times if you get that DNA or the ancestry tracing, it can help to match those photos. And that could be stuff aunts and uncles or cousins have through the family. And I just hear they're giving a blessing, because I know the one side you guys don't have a lot of information about, and I'm just being told that they're going to help you when the time comes, whoever's choosing to do that. That's important. There's also a happy 55th. Every milestone is every 5 years, and I heard say happy 55th, and she just said, my daughter knows why I said that.
I turned 55 in June.
I know, she's telling me. She's saying to me she's not missing that milestone, because after the first year, every 5 years is a milestone, and she drew 55 between us, and I saw her wink, and she's like, say this to my daughter, say happy 55th. And it's her way of saying she's not missing that, honey. She's also talking about saving the dried pressed flowers and the roses, and then planting the roses and tulips in honor. Do you understand that? Whether family or friends did that, she's saying to me she knows about that, and she's given a blessing about continuing to add stuff to the garden and the memorial garden. Do you understand? Even if you guys are adding flowers in stages. Somebody's still carrying her picture about it. I don't get that very often. She's like, my picture's still carried. Do you understand it? She sees that. She said it means a lot to her. That's wonderful validation. I love that. Yeah, we're just getting started with her. She's so excited. I'm like, Ann, I'm going to get a lot from you in her life. She said yes. And that's okay. But regardless of who you saw before, what happens with this is they'll just pick up where they left off, or there's a subject she talked about that she just wants to add more detail about. She'll make me feel it. Do you understand it? And she's saying to me she had the biggest cheerleading section through the illness, and she was happy for the support and love. She's also saying to me a lot of people stopped their lives that she didn't expect to help to make sure that she was taken care of. And she's saying to me how much that meant to her and how much she loves you guys for that. Do you understand it? She's also saying to me some of the decisions were discussed, but not all of them. Do you understand it, honey? Good. So it's just her way of saying you guys made the right decisions after the passing. She's really grateful and thankful for the things you guys chose to do. There's also a happy early birthday for May, a happy belated anniversary for November, 2 birthdays and an anniversary coming in October, and August.
She'll be 80 in May.
Perfect.
She would have been 80.
That's why. You guys are going to celebrate that birthday because it's a milestone. The rest goes through the family because the rest of it came channeling through Evelyn. It's why I welcome the recording. The rest will make sense. Do you understand it? So that's important. I'll be there to celebrate that milestone. I know how hard it's going to be for them. I see how much she misses me every day. Kelly, please tell her I can hear her. So I know that you talk to her all the time.
Yeah.
Do you understand it? Okay. She's listening, honey, even if you don't always hear her respond. She makes me feel there's sometimes you know what she's saying. Even if you're feeling on a heart or soul level, never second guess that. That's real experiences. She's trying to connect with you guys as much as possible. And they do tell me she's had a chance to visit just a few times in dream state. Do you understand it? Wonderful. There's a happy 32nd as well. They're giving a happy 32nd. She's like, I can't leave either one of my girls out. And I'm like, how great that you just told both their ages. Do you understand it? Wonderful. I love that so much. And she's talking about the tattoos or adding the tattoos in honor. She's like, I know about the tattoos, whether they've been done or thought about.
Their tattoos here, but she has plenty.
That's okay. Have you gotten one for her? Have you thought about it, honey?
When I channel spirit, I try to see octopuses, and I just got a huge one on my leg.
Okay, good. I just hear her validating and acknowledging to me. She's really, really happy about letting you know that she's guiding some of the tattoo work, and I know some of that's going to honor her whether now or then. Do you understand it? So don't be surprised if you don't add something at some point or start to feel her a little bit stronger. Do you understand it? Do you hear them vocally at all?
No.
Okay, good. I just hear and validate, you feel a lot of stuff. So you're more of an empath or growing more in those like intuitive feelings.
Yes.
So trust it, honey, they're going to help you. But I do hear the capabilities there for that type of communication if you want to grow into it. So just be patient with it. She's saying she'll step in and help you. You have 8 guide team members you haven't met yet, and I can feel them too. Do you understand it? Have you been wanting to meet them too?
Yeah, I've been trying to work a lot with it, so.
Okay, so they're there, honey, okay? When you meet your guide team though, it's not just feeling them, it's learning what position they are on your team, what their name is, what they look like, have they had a human experience before, and what they're here to teach you. You have to learn all 5 of that of every single member.
Okay.
I have 38.
Oh, wow.
And they're my 5th guide team,
Wow.
just because of how I've advanced with my mediumship. So I'm just trying to help you with it, honey.
Thank you.
But they're there. Do you understand it? And I know you can feel them, and I'm being told you can feel them guiding you. So continue the conversations. Even if you're just waking up every morning and saying, hi, I know you're here, setting your intentions for the day, giving thanks that they're there, and just letting the communication grow. Because one of the best ways for you to start the communication to the other side is your guides.
Okay.
So how are you communicating now besides just empathic feelings?
Just a lot of meditation.
Yeah,
I
like
do-
seeing stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of tarot work. I've been trying to get into that. But yeah, just really meditation
yeah.
and feeling.
It's coming, just be patient with it, okay? Plus, please remember, as you start to make connections with them, besides them showing themselves to you in meditation, you can ask them to introduce themselves to you in dream state. So try that.
Okay.
And then let me know how you're doing. You can send me messages on my page,
Okay.
and I'll give you little helpful hints to be a little bit more open to it. Or we're not even done with your mom. But they just want to stop, and sometimes they'll stop me for spiritual teaching, and that's okay. But that's wonderful, I love that. And they're saying to me you have natural healing abilities if you chose to go into energy work.
I've been studying Reiki as
I
well.
know, they're telling me. Do you want to get to master level, or are you trying to get to that?
I do. I'm trying to feel it out to see
Yeah.
where I want to go with it.
Yeah, I have healing abilities too. I could step in and do mediumship and healing, but my schedule with mediumship is so crazy. It's really my purpose. It's just what my alignment is for now. Will I eventually step into it down the road? I don't know. The abilities are there, but I don't have the passion for it like I do mediumship, and mediumship's kind of my calling,
Yeah.
but I can still have all those other abilities. Have I used it before? I have, but it's been very rare because it's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Then there's other people, or even some of my students, where it's all about the healing work and they just want to do healing work and they don't even care about messages. They just
Yeah.
want to help people, right? So I just know that you're there. They just keep saying you're a natural healer. So just trust that path, honey. I just know that they're going to help guide it in any way they can. That's important. So she's like, Kelly, tell her we have it under control. That was your mom. So they're watching over her. They're keeping her protected. And I just know she's going to be a big supportive soul for her. Even if she's not part of her guide team, she can work hand in hand or step in and help at any point. That's wonderful validation. So that's really great. So just be patient with it, honey. You'll know. You'll feel it on a soul level. You'll feel them guide you. You'll know what's right for your path, but you're such in early stages of it. They never want you to feel you don't have your own free will in the calling as well. So it's really about making that balance of what your free will is compared to the way you're being guided by God, Jesus, and your guides. And then you just go from there. Do you understand it? Good, perfect. And then they're saying to me, there's some protection cards that you need to learn.
Okay.
So I might be sending them to you too.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'll help you with it, so no worries. As long as you understand everything they said. They won't let me get too personal with you because we're in a group, but as long as you understand it. But right now you have 8 guides, which is great. So I'm excited. And 3 of them are healers, just because of that healing path that's right in front of you. 2 protectors, 3 healers, 1 stands at the north. You have 4 Native American, and then 4 other. So they just gave me as much as they could without breaking sacred lines. Once you learn your guides, though, I will leave you a tip. Once you learn your guide team, don't share them with anybody. Keep them to yourself.
Okay.
Because it protects you more, it protects them more. You can have a stronger connection with them. They can keep you more protected. And if you do not share your guide team with anybody, you can form a stronger bond with them. Your abilities will be stronger.
Okay.
Nobody ever, I've never shared any of my guides with anybody.
Okay.
So Jeff, even my hubby, doesn't know one name of any of my guides that are on my team. Not even one name. Because I keep them sacred and I keep that promise. So just a helpful hint.
Thank you.
Okay, let me go back to loving messages. But they just stopped me to be like, hey, but that was a blessing from your mom Ann with her guide team, because they want to watch her grow and they know the people she could eventually help, regardless of what direction. Because they do make me feel like you're still trying to figure out your own path and you haven't quite figured it out. She's like, she hasn't figured out her own path, Kelly, but you tell her she's right where she needs to be. And it's just her way of saying there's no rush. And it's okay for you to be your own individual person, and it's okay for you to try different things until you really figure out what's going to make you happy. Because you got to have full joy and full happiness in what you do. Do you understand it? So they're helping you, honey. I love that validation. But take your time with it. It's just her way of saying no rush. It's also why she told me how old you were, so I knew what age you were, so I knew where you were in your station in life. Do you understand it as far as your growth moving forward? So wonderful validation. Plus, she's happy for the relationship you guys have. I love watching the 2 of them. They're completely different, Kelly, but they're doing great together. Do you understand her saying that? I love that so much. I do about the recipes, keeping the recipes and using the recipes, but not making all of them. Do you understand her saying that? Okay. So, and whether it's some of that's part of the handwriting, cookbooks, or both, I love she just gave that as well, which is wonderful. I do hear about placing the angel statue in the garden. Do you understand it?
Yes.
I know about the angel statue in the garden, so my daughter. That's wonderful validation. She knows that was done in honor. She knows that that piece reminds you of her and that promise of everlasting life. And I just keep hearing her say how much she loves that piece is there. That's wonderful. That's really, really great. She's so sweet. She's very simple. Just everything was very simplistic with her. Do you understand her saying to me that she knows she could have been a little bit more loving sometimes with her approach?
Yes.
Okay, there's a little bit of apology with that statement, honey, okay? Look, I know that you guys did everything you could to love and respect her. I know you've had a close bond with her as far as her being your mom. But they'll admit to me things as they look back on their life. It's almost like that rewind once they get there and they just understand things in a different way and in a different state of unconditional love. And I can hear her validating and acknowledging to me. She knows there's times she could have taken more of a loving approach with you guys. And so there's a little bit of her saying she's sorry about that. Do you understand it? I know it wasn't always easy. But she's admitting to me she was stuck in her ways. I was stuck in my ways, Kelly, and I'm like, okay, honey, I'll tell her. I know why you're saying it. Do you understand it? That's great validation. She's so sweet. I hear about selling off the house. Do
I'm sorry?
you understand her talking about selling off the house?
Your house is nice.
I'm thinking about selling my house in
I know.
Greenville.
She knows. She's like, let's talk about selling off the house. That's my next subject. And I'm like, okay, honey. She's like, I'm helping with it if she chooses. So she knows that that's the next phase for you. You're possibly going into that transition. You have full support from the other side if you make that decision. And you know you're not fully ready for it, but if it's something you've been thinking about, she obviously knows you're thinking about it, honey. So it's just her being supportive as a mom, and it's their way of saying they're going to be there to support you if you choose it. Wonderful validation. Especially if it's something you haven't really talked about, it's just something that's crossed your mind, or if you only talked to just a few people about it. They'll open doors for blessings when you're ready. You understand it? She's like, well, she chooses to do it. Nothing like now, because it's a good time. Do you understand it? So I know that you're looking at that because it's something you were planning on doing at some point anyway. Do I do it now? Why? I can make more money because of how the market is instead of taking a chance. So they'll guide you. I just feel like it's her way of validating about just praying about it. Just pray about it. You'll know the right decision, honey. They'll help from the other side. But I always say pray to God and ask for the guidance with that first, because you'll feel it on a soul level. It's the right decision. One of my coaching students, I did a private coaching today between 2 and 3, and she's been with me for years, since the very beginning. I've been doing this 9.5 years. So she's a student that's been with me for a long time, and she just signed up for my year-long private coaching. And it's so cool because her husband Wes died many, many years ago. It's one of the first reasons she came to see me for communication with him. About 9 years ago, she was one of my first clients ever, and she's been with me all these years. But the cool thing with her is he actually has guided her through rental properties in Florida. So the very first time he ever told me, he's like, tell Tina I know she's thinking about starting to purchase stuff in Florida, and she's been thinking about buying a condo for her in Ariel, and she's like, yes. The next time I saw her, he's like, tell her that there's going to be a condo that comes available in the building, and tell her to buy it. And I know she's thinking about buying a second or third one. She needs to buy all 3. Within 2 weeks, she sent me a message and was like, guess what? The condo next door, the lady just put it on sale, and I just instantly bought it. And there's one down the street, I bought that one too. Within a month, she owned 3 properties. Now she owns like 7 or 8. But there's one she's been back and forth about selling. So I got some channel today with coaching as far as I'm guiding, because it's worth so much more than what it's worth now. And her daughter's finishing college, and she's getting ready to go to graduate school for physical therapy. And she's thinking about selling it off while the market's good, so it can pay for her extra school for physical therapy, so she can become a physical therapist. So they guide in those ways for a reason, whether you guys realize it or not. So she's helping with it. So just be patient with yourself as you make those decisions. I know you'll get that nudge or feel that pull as far as what's right for you, and your mom's going to step in and help in anyway. So I just wanted to use Tina as an example. She knows I use her as an example. She doesn't care. But it's so cool because over the years, I've communicated with him. He's told me to tell her when to buy condos. And now she's got this really huge security egg of financial security for her and her daughter for the future that she wouldn't have. Do you understand it? So that'll happen. They'll do that and they'll help, which is really great. So I'm happy that I'm getting this for you. So just be patient with it. It's a big decision, Kelly. She's had that house for a while. Are you thinking about downsizing and letting things go?
Mm-hmm.
That's why. She's like, it's time to downsize. It's going to give her more peace. She said, especially with turning 55, it's the perfect time. Do you understand it? I'm like, are you giving her age away again? She said, yes, that's part of the message. So it's just her way of saying it's a good time for you. You still have the energy to do everything. It's the perfect time for you to downsize. You can start letting things go. It's just going to be a simpler part of life, and you're going to be more at peace when you make the decision. So that's wonderful validation. I hear all this singing. Do you understand the singing? Good. Oh gosh, it's so loud. Look, this is what I'll tell you. Sometimes you guys can actually catch things like that. Whether you hear her vocally in dream state or other, I just want you to pay attention to it, because I know it's one of the ways she's trying to tell you guys she's there in spirit. That's really, really, really important. Now, do you hear about saving the dishes or keeping the dishes? She's saying she's happy for the dishware that was kept. Do you understand it? Whether that gets in the big china pieces or just some of the stuff she had in the kitchen or both, she's making me feel that she's grateful for those things that are kept too. She was saying to me she was at peace with the passing. Honey, it just means her soul was in acceptance. When she said it was still too sudden and she thought she would have longer with you guys, so I know it was a little bit quicker for her and quicker for you guys, but she is telling me she was at peace. She's admitting to me she was seeing the other side as well, so I need you to know that too. And that could be in those final days, in those final hours, them coming to her in dream state days before or both. She's just admitting to me she was already starting to see the other side, but she's saying she wasn't fully vocal to say everything she really wanted to in the end. But please know she could hear everything, and that communication was starting. Do you understand about that? So she's trying to give you peace about that as well. All right, I'm gonna have her for a few minutes. She's a soul that could talk and talk and talk. So I understand why they brought her in first, so it's okay. She's done a pretty great job. She's just picked up where she left off last time, but she's one of those souls I wish I had you privately where I could just communicate with her for like 2 hours, but she's done a great job. And I love that they stopped part of the message and she gave up part of her time for all those other personal things to kind of give guidance for her as well. Because they're going to be watching over her too, with her being a granddaughter for her. They're always going to be taking care of her, which is wonderful. Keep trying to song, How Great Thou Art. It's coming from your direction. Do you understand that? Okay, because I'm in the middle of communicating with Ann and Evelyn, and somebody over here is singing How Great Thou Art, and I'm like, who's singing that? Because your mom and dad and grandmother are here. And I think Joss hear it, because I was in that singing thing, and I just went right to that song. And I kept hearing Kelly was one of my favorite church hymns. I sang it all the time. Do you understand it? Okay, perfect. So we'll get there, honey. I'm like, who's singing that? They're like, it's across the room. They're just like, and your mom's saying to me, they're all singing it now. Do you understand? Your mom's like, they joined in. I'm like, okay. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Did your mom sing it all the time, honey?
My dad.
Okay, good. Because she's saying to me they all joined in, so it's got to be her picking with him, so it's okay if it's coming from your mom, because she's the first soul I hear. And 6 people were in line behind them, and everybody started joining in. So if it's something he hummed or sang all the time, wonderful validation. Plus, it's his way of giving me something so you know it's him, since he hasn't introduced himself yet, and I just heard they're both here. Do you understand it? That's really great. Do you see the pennies, by the way?
Yes.
Tell my daughter I send her pennies all the time. That was just your dad's voice telling me. Tell her I'm the one sending the pennies. And robin birds. Do you see the robins?
Yes.
That's mom and dad visiting together. Watch for the groups. This is one of the ways they come through together. That's wonderful. Everything smells like an ashtray behind them.
My mother.
It is so intense.
3-pack-a-day smoker.
You know what she said to me? If I could smoke here, I would. They don't smoke in heaven, honey. Like, they don't need food for nourishment like we do, but they can still taste those things. Do you understand it? But they don't need nourishment because they don't have the physical body. But wow, he's singing How Great Thou Art. He's talking about the pennies. I saw the robins fly all around you, and I heard, watch for the robins. It's both of us. And then everything smells like an ashtray behind her. Do you understand it? But remember, they'll come through with those smells too, so I want you to pay attention to that. Because she's like, Kelly, there's been a couple times I've been sending that smell. Do you understand
Yes.
it? That's really great.
Yes.
Whether it's you, other people in the family have experienced that, and you thought it was her, it is. That's wonderful validation. Ooh, I just got pregnant belly. There's a new baby coming.
Yes, there is.
We know about the new baby.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. They're excited. How far along, honey?
She's 16 weeks.
See my fingers? 4 months, they're already telling me. When I ask you, watch my fingers, I already know. They're saying to me she's around 4 months. They know. Your mom's gonna be an angel for the new baby. And she's saying to give congratulations. Her and Sadie, they're gonna be the angels. And I hear they'll be there for the birth, and then they had to make me full 4 months for the baby. They're excited. They're saying to me they see how excited you guys are, and I heard, tell them congratulations, we're really happy for them. She's really excited about being a mom. And I can feel 4 months. That's great. I love that. That's wonderful, wonderful validation. Your mom's saying to me she's really excited about forming the bond with the baby. So the bond's already being formed, even with her being pregnant.
That's
And
great.
please remember, children are very open to spirit,
Yes.
because that builds spirit then to the other side, especially until the age of about 4 or 5. So what happens with this is children and animals are so open to spirit. The world hasn't gotten in the way, ego hasn't gotten in the way, they're a little bit more pure, right? So I know from what they're acknowledging and what I need to share with you is that that baby's going to be very open to the other side, and your mom's going to have full communication, at least for the first couple years. So don't be surprised if her and dad aren't talked about, or you don't start to feel or sense your mom a little bit stronger once the baby's here. But they're watching and protecting the pregnancy is what I hear. So we'll get a little bit more about that possibly in a little bit. Let me get this last minute or two or so with Anne. But with groups like this, all your loved ones could come in and take over, but they really want to share time to have a chance with everybody. Do you understand it? Good. But what a great start. And it's not even their turn, and they're just flooding me with information,
That's my mother.
which is wonderful. She's also getting a happy belated birthday for November, honey.
That's me.
She's like, she went like that and said I was there in November. So it's her way of saying happy belated birthday. I'll say her the number 23. How do you understand that, honey? You should. It can be birthday, anniversary, somebody celebrating 23 years. I'm just being told it should be understood. She's just piggybacking it off of your birthday. That'll make sense later, honey. I just heard that they're celebrating the 23rd. So that'll make sense later. Yeah, I'm gonna get flooded with them. We might come into them and then come over here to his mom and dad and her mom and dad and these grandmothers all lined up and go across into Roger and her grandfather Joseph and her grandmother right behind. Your grandmother's so sweet. Do you see the ladybugs, by the way? She just put ladybugs all around you and said, tell her I'm here. I'm sending my love, Kelly. Tell her to watch for the ladybugs. That's my sign from her. Have you ever communicated with her before?
No.
First time? Good. First time for her and Joseph. It is okay that your grandmother's that big soul, but your grandfather's important as well. And he's like, call me Joe. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Good. So I know people did. So he may have blessings. They'll tell me who they're watching over the family. They'll probably get some birthdays. Even if it's about your grandmother, I'm probably going to get a little bit from him. So we're definitely right here with you guys first. Then we'll get to the 3 of them. And I'm going to get flooded with all new names with them in a little while. Okay, let me get this last minute or two with Anne. I wish I could stay with her. But again, with groups like this, if you guys haven't 10 people, they'll just really try to be loving and courteous. But she did her job. She said what she needed to say today. And what's going to offer you healing now as far as guidance for both of you. Do you understand it? And I love to be the happy 55th. I did hear about the knee issues or knee complications, problems with arthritis, struggling with knee issues. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Are you having issues with that, honey?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
no.
who's having issues with it? I just hear they're watching over it, so I have to ask.
That's my mother-in-law.
Perfect. They're just telling me. Remember, there's 6 souls, so there might be people on that side, so I'm just going to honor it. As far as like your hubby's side, because mom and dad side are here, there's 2 ancestors on that side, and then if hubby's side starts to step in with them, I just keep hearing about the knee issues, the arthritis, the trouble walking, possibility of surgery, not surgery. Do you understand it? Okay, they have an eye on that. Anytime somebody's having health issues here, something major's going on in the family, they'll talk about supporting it. But they're telling me she's still doing pretty good on her own.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Kelly, she actually is in her 20s and we watch it every day. You understand it?
Yep.
Good, perfect. That's wonderful. So we'll take our time with it, okay? They just wanted to make sure I got that. Kelly, thank you so much. I knew I was only going to have a chance to stay for just a little bit. Tell both my girls how much I love them. Remind them that I'm always here. I'm always watching over them. And they can lean on me anytime they want. I'm always going to be behind their shoulders and guiding them in each step. Tell them to continue to celebrate us in any way we can. And we'll continue to celebrate them. The prayers go both ways. We love them. So that's what channeling. But I always try to remind people prayers go both ways. So they're praying for you guys as well from the other side. Do you understand it? Good. So she did great. But especially since you've heard from her before, she just picked up where she left off and then I just got flooded. But a lot of it was just structural stuff for you guys and well wishes. But I just hear they're watching over that whole circumstance, honey. Do you understand it? Okay. I just heard the name Irene, if anybody recognizes. She just walked in. Hi, Kelly. I'm Irene. I'm joining the group now.
Rita, Irene.
Huh?
Rita, Irene.
Perfect. Okay. Now, Irene is a name that goes back through your family. So I'm going to honor that because that could be first or middle name. Because it's not just about mom, because there's somebody here that carries that name as well. And it honors Rita Irene to honor your mom's first name and middle name, because they'll do that too. Do you understand it? Fantastic. But it also honors that it's a name that goes back through history. Even if it jumps a couple generations, I know it's back through history, so you guys will eventually claim that. That's an interesting name. There's a gentleman going, hi, Kelly, I'm Randolph. I'm like, nice to meet you. Okay, never mind. He is like really, 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 really far back. Do you understand him talking to me about the heart issues of congestive heart failure, honey? Because I kept hearing Kelly. I had health issues. I didn't listen to the doctor. I didn't listen to my family. There was heart issues. I had heart disease, and I can feel the congestive heart
That's
failure.
Donald.
Yeah, he's admitting it to me.
He died of that.
He's also talking about being stubborn, eating whatever he wanted, not listening to the doctors. I don't feel like he's really following some type of like course with like medication or not listening about medication. Do you understand it? So he was, well, that's part of why when he walked in, I was like, wow, I feel the stubbornness. Because part of that actually relates to the health complications with the heart issues and congestive heart failure. It's okay, him and Sadie are supporting your mom and dad, but I still would honor your grandmother and him as well, because I already got him, so they just have to make me feel the health issues. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Do you understand the strokes or stroke complications and the massive stroke?
That was my dad.
Yeah, I just got flooded. He's like, Kelly, this is me, and I just felt strokes hit my head. And then he's talking about mini strokes, a massive stroke, having troubles with stroke issues. I can feel high blood pressure, circulatory issues. Do you understand it? Nerve damage. I can feel the neuropathy. Do you understand? Good. And he's talking about not being able to fully come back from the stroke the way he thought he could.
Right.
Do you understand it? And he's like, I know how hard that was for them. That's okay. I love that. Him and your mom are quite a pair.
They were quite a pair.
Your mom, you know what? He goes, Kelly, we loved each other, but I don't know who rolled their eyes more at the other. Do you understand your dad saying that? He's teasing. He really did everything he could to put her first. Do you understand it? But I feel like she was in charge of the house, and he's like, I just went with what half of what she said. I just went along with it. Do you understand it? Good. So funny. Everything smells like apple dumplings and chicken and dumplings. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So if you understand the chicken and dumplings with mom and dad, remember I'm going to get those smells from your grandmother Sadie and those older generations. They're the ones that smell like an apple and dumplings. So I had to smell that as well. And then everything around your mom and dad smells like chicken and dumplings. Do you understand it? Okay. I love that. I also hear this validation and acknowledgement about, and I need you to know this, your dad's getting strong enough to move stuff, so I need you to pay attention. Some souls are strong enough to move stuff. So I always tell people, okay, if you set your keys in a certain place and they move a couple inches, or you're like, how did they get across the room? Or just small things, pay attention. It's one of the ways he's trying to let you know he's around besides the pennies. I just got saluting.
Yeah, he was.
So I said, thank you for your service. So anytime they serve, they'll usually tell me that. So he saluted me. I said, thank you for your service. And I know that you guys have stuff in his honor, whether flags, medals, or other, because he keeps presenting the flag to me, and he's saying he's happy for the things you guys kept, for how he served. And they tell him he only served for a few short years.
Yes.
And then he's admitting to me he never really talked about it because it was too hard to talk about. I didn't discuss anything.
That's true.
I think part of that's just some of the things he went through and saw and experienced. Sometimes there's souls like this on the other side who will admit to me some of the things they saw and experienced, and that they chose not to share it with their family, and here's why. He wanted you guys just to see him for who he was, and not some of the choices. And even though there's ways that he had to protect or possibly defend the country when he was serving, he wanted you to just love him as a dad and love him as a person, and not some of those decisions. So sometimes these vets, sometimes they don't always share their experiences because it's a lot for them to actually carry home. So it's just his way of validating that. Do you understand it? And he's like, I didn't share my experiences. And I'm like, honey, it's okay that you didn't. He realizes now he's on the other side that he would have never had that judgment from you guys anyway. So now he's saying to me he wishes he would at least share some. But he's happy for what you guys kept involved with him. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Good. I love that so much. Do you understand him talking to me about the doctors and nurses having to step in to take care?
Yes.
Yeah. He
The
just keeps
last
saying to me
4
some of the
days.
right, you guys made some of the right decisions in the end, and that he needed that care. He also doesn't want you guys holding guilt because it was the right decision, because you guys couldn't give the care that was needed, and that they had to be there to provide that care. And he's telling you he's grateful for that, he's thankful. Do you understand it? That's wonderful validation, honey. Now I'm gonna get flooded with some names. We're definitely moving into Mom, Dad, and Sadie, so you're next, and then we'll come here, okay? Because I know I was gonna bounce back and forth with you guys. Harold's here, if anybody recognizes Harold, I can hear that. There's also a gentleman by the name of Fred. Hi, Kelly and Fred. Stanley, if anybody recognizes him, I want to call him Stan. Stella, that's unusual. I don't get that name very often. Rosalie. There's a gentleman by the name of Ernest, so I want to call him Ernie. Do you recognize Ernest?
Well, he was my aunt's first husband,
Okay, that's okay.
recently passed away.
He's saying to me he's been in the house all day waiting. I may not get him, he's probably just a supportive soul.
Hanging out with me.
Yeah, he's like, I like her. I just answer. Now, he'll leave when I go, so don't worry about it. If your loved one,
concerned.
what'd you say?
My son was concerned.
I know, that's why they're telling me. And if you guys feel anything, because you'll be more open to this with this more private experience, it'll just be your loved ones trying to let them know they're here. But they're all your loved ones, nobody else is here, only your loved ones, right? So they'll go, they'll patiently go. But it's okay that he came early to hang out with you.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah, you know, he said, if I could only stand there and eat at the island, I would, but I would have been wanting to snack on potato chips. Did you him say that? And he smells like potato chips, so there's some joking with that. He's funny. Okay, let me listen. Just a few more names, then we'll come right back to Mom and Dad. I just have the second shift, because at any point other people can start to say their names or piggyback. But do you understand everything they've given me so far?
Yes.
Down to Sadie and the
Yes.
heirlooms, everything Dad's saying, Donald. We haven't even started with your mom yet, so I'm getting all 4 of them. But sometimes I'll get 4 people and it'll be a little bit from each. Do you understand it? Even though Uncle Donald's a little bit unexpected. That's
Right.
okay. But I think he wants to acknowledge enough without taking away from your mom and dad, so you can pass peace to his family that he's okay. That's all it's about, honey. So any peace it gives them that he's okay, that's all that matters. And he'll give me enough to walk that boundary line to prove it's him without taking away from the big souls that are in your heart, just so you can share with the family that they're together. Because one of the things that brings the most peace to you guys is them acknowledging who's with them in heaven and who they're spending time with. And so he's with mom and dad often, which is really, really great, especially since he's an uncle for you, honey, okay? So I just know he spends a lot of time with them this one. There's the name Russell, that's unusual, I get that often. There's a gentleman telling me to call him Butch, like Butcher Butchie. Even if it's a nickname, I can hear it. Gerald, Gerald. Florence, I'm going to call her Flo. I just know people did. Somebody should recognize Florence. Okay, so I'm just going to honor her. Carolyn. There's a lady by the name of Sue.
Sue?
Mm-hmm.
My aunt.
Yeah, she's like, hi, Helen. Does anybody recognize Tabitha? They just opened me for animal communication, that's why I'm asking. Which means we may get some animals, because they just opened it up. Please, I see your excitement. Now, please remember, they could be animals for you guys, animals for friends or family, they could be animals with your older ancestors. There's a dog that actually they call Dodge. I've never gotten that before, that's unusual. There's a dog by the name of Roscoe, there's a dog by the name of Daisy. There's an animal that was actually called Socks. Tigger's here. Peanut,
Oh.
Gracie. Do you recognize Peanut? They're telling me Peanut belongs to you. How do you recognize Peanut, honey?
It's my husband's dog
Yeah, it just means that message belongs
that
to
he
you.
grew up with, yeah.
Good.
Okay.
For you to pass and share. So we'll wait for it, okay? There's also a mention of Max. If anybody recognizes Max, Max is here. How do you claim Max, honey?
Who's my dog?
Yeah, they're telling me Max comes to visit.
Oh,
Now-
I peed on everything.
I just heard not anymore, but if he was here, he would. Do you understand it? Good. So, loved ones fall under 30. Animals fall between 1 and 4 because they're young again, right? And they're telling me Max is 30. Good. And they're telling me he hasn't lost his personality or attitude. Do you understand it? Because animals are in that
Big
unconditional love,
personality, big attitude.
unconditional loving state when they're here. So he just carried that personality right over to the other side. Do you
My
understand it?
first baby.
And they're telling me he was stubborn but loving. Do you understand it? Please be open to him because I do hear that he visits with loved ones. And I hear him and Pauline are super close together. And I hear she's actually one of those people that brings him to you. So I just want you to be open to that, okay? So just be patient with it. We might get a little bit more from him in a little bit. I kind of just felt them enter the room. Now, they're not going to take away from her mom and dad. We'll wait and see if I get animals along the way. He will jump up there with you. So that's okay if he comes and sits with you. And sometimes you can actually feel their presence. But he's here.
You feel his presence?
That's okay. Yes, we'll wait and see if he jumps up. He's still walking around, honey. He hasn't jumped up yet, but he might do it. I also hear this mention in validation about Cookie. Okay, somebody had an animal by the name of Cookie. Ginger's here. Somebody had an animal by the name of Bridget. Okay, good. Sorry, that was just my first group of animals. There's over 40 here. I asked, they said 42. I only got a couple of names, but they just wanted me to know that Max is in the house. Plus, if you know if he's visiting, honey, you might start to feel his presence a little bit more. So just be patient with yourself with that because it might be something that grows after today. All right. I'm asking Uncle Donald if there's anything else he wanted to say. He said he wasn't going to take away from Mom and Dad, but he's supporting and he just wanted me to feel like his passing and stuff like that, okay? That's okay. Your mom's talking about keeping the furniture, still having the furniture pieces.
Yes, we have some of the furniture pieces.
She's saying to me she's very happy you kept the furniture. She's like, Kelly, I am so happy she kept the furniture. Do you understand it? Good, I love that. Have you guys thought about making changes to it though? So let me explain. Even though those heirloom pieces are here, whether sanding, refinishing, recovering material pieces, having them redone, painting them, using them in different ways or different rooms, there's always the blessing for that because they want you guys to keep those heirlooms in honor, but they also want you to use them that's going to really match the aesthetic of your house and make you happy because you're still honoring them with keeping those pieces. So she's saying to me, she gives the blessing to move forward with changes. Do you understand it? So have you thought about it or
Yes,
have you
we have.
changed some of them?
Mhm.
She said do whatever you want with it. Have you been holding off with that because you're worried about what she would think or
Yeah, I
really
have.
wondering what she would think?
Mhm. I have a dresser.
There's
Yeah.
never any judgment.
I'm thinking about doing something
Have you
like
been thinking about like painting it?
yes.
Yeah, she just put a paintbrush to it. I'm like, tell me what she's gonna do, and this whole room started to smell like paint, and I can see it being painted, and she said, paint it if it'll make you happy. So she's saying to me, you should do that. That's wonderful validation.
Mhm.
I love that so much. So just know you have that blessing, honey, okay? That's great. I do hear about the diamond or the diamond.
Yes.
She's happy the diamond is still here as well. That means a lot to her. When they start to line up purses, it means purses or contents of purses were kept, and I hear the wallets here as well.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So she's validating that too. And I do hear it's okay to change some of the sizes on the rings to make them fit better.
We did that already.
Thank you. It's just her way of saying she gave the blessing. She's like, talk about changing the size on the rings. I'm like, okay. She saw that, honey, okay? Your grandmother smells like lilies of the valley and talcum powder mixed together. Sadie, do you understand that? Wonderful. Watch for that smell. It's one of the ways she comes through. Remember, that can be me catching undertones of like perfumes or powders they wore. Because sometimes it's not always baby powder. Sometimes there's those floral powders from like Avon and different things like that that some of those younger generations bought. And everything smells like talcum powder and lilies of the valley when I smell her. So I just want you to be open to that and patient for that. Because you might smell that like you do the smoke with your dad. Do you understand it? When your mom and dad visit, you're going to smell a lot of smoke because the smoke from mom's going to be stronger. Do you understand
Yes.
it? She's also saying to me about trying to quit and not quite being able to quit or wanting to try to quit and still being bad with it. Do you understand? And she's talking about sitting outside chain smoking.
All the
She's
time.
like, he used to yell at me about smoking in the house, so sometimes I'd have to sit outside, and if I was gonna be there, sometimes I would just go ahead and smoke for her. That was your mom. Do you understand it? And then your dad's still picking on her about that from the other side. But I hear when dad's there, you might actually smell the smoke a little bit stronger, because I'm being told mom smelled a little bit stronger in spirit than dad, but she helps him to visit. Do you understand it? So if you guys are getting the smoke for longer periods of time, or you feel her presence a little bit stronger, it's because dad's there with her too. So now I want you to be open to having a chance to feel both of them. That's what that subject's about. It is okay that your dad is saying, if she smells the smoke strong, I'm there. So they want you guys to know that he's visiting in those moments. But they'll tell me who you feel stronger, who you sense stronger. Do you understand it? And I know a lot of it's mom. I do hear about keeping the old records or saving them to the records. And they're saying to me it's okay to go through the records.
Yeah, I
They're
have
saying-
all of his
They're
records.
saying to me there's a lot of records and it's okay to start going through them. Even if you start passing some of them down and you don't keep all the records that you have from dad, he wants to make sure I hear this. Do you understand it, honey?
Yes.
That's important, okay? He's also saying to me it wasn't just serving the country that he stayed a little bit more private about. And he knows there's more he could have shared with the family as a whole in general. It's just his way of saying he was a little bit more reserved, didn't always join in conversations, stayed a lot to himself. Honey, that's just his admittance to me that he could have been more involved in the family as a whole. And he wishes he would have left more of those memories for you guys. Do you understand? And that's okay. If he was a little bit more quiet and to himself and a little bit more reserved. And do you understand?
Yes.
Your mom was a complete opposite. You know what he said? Somebody had to balance her out, Kelly. I guess it was me. That's what he just said. He's teasing. Like he was more reserved and she was very
That's
talkative
very
and
true.
outspoken. Do you understand it? So it's also why they mesh well together at certain times as well, because he really kind of balanced that with her, which is wonderful. Don't be surprised if you're not guided to sing How Great Thou Art, or that song starts to slowly come to you if it's one he sang all the time, because he had such a strong faith. Do you understand
Yes.
it? Good. So it's me feeling that faith piece as well. Plus anybody on the other side, whether I get, regardless of what faith or what background, because I've gotten everything from angels to saints to priests to nuns to Baptist preachers to deacons, you name it, come through for like their families. But anytime somebody has a really strong faith and they had a really strong faith or connection with God, they're always really happy that I'm helping them just because of being ordained. But I hear him saying to me to trust the process of that song. So you might start humming it or singing it after today, or it might start to come to your heart. He's right there in spirit with you, honey. So I just want you to be open, because it might be one of the ways he starts to connect with you besides the pennies. And there's groups of robins from the two of them. But I love he talked about the records and said it's okay to start passing them down if you don't want to keep all of them. We get caught up in almost feeling guilty like we have to keep everything and we don't. Do you understand it? So I just have to stop and explain to people, they don't see material possessions the way that we do on the other side. They're happy and grateful for anything you kept in their honor, but they never want you to feel like you have to keep things. They're grateful for anything you keep, whether it's one thing or 100. Do you understand it?
Yes.
So it's also mom's way of saying there's still boxes to go through and there's still stuff to let go of. She's like, Kelly, there's boxes and
The whole
boxes and
corner of my
boxes
basement
of
is
stuff
full of.
that still needs to be gone through and
Stuff.
tell her. It's okay to
You
start
can tell her my
letting things
husband
go.
is pushing right along. Get it moving.
Okay, so they're obviously hearing those conversations, honey, so they know that you have to do it. I think they're also trying to take some of that burden off your shoulders so you don't feel guilty as you pass stuff down to the family or you start to let things go. Whether you throw them away, give them to Goodwill, Salvation Army, whatever. Do you understand it? It's just her way of saying it's okay. Plus, remember, a lot of times they're with you in those moments in spirit, helping and guiding you along. So I just want you to be open to the process as well, which is wonderful. I have a few more minutes with them. They're doing fantastic. I love them getting all four of them. But I know you understood everything they've given.
So far.
There's a happy birthday for July. There's a happy belated birthday for December.
Mhm.
Your mom said we were there in December. You should recognize that. July will come with Sadie and Don will be in here, okay? They're also giving a happy 45th. Please remember that can be birthday or anniversary, but I hear them giving a happy 45th. I just hear they're celebrating the 45th milestone through the family, so I heard through the family, so I can get in the cousins and other people. There's also a happy 60th.
Yes.
Your mom's like, we're celebrating the 60th, so they
Yes.
stopped me on that, so I knew you would recognize
Yes,
that.
that's my cousin is turned.
Yeah, good.
Someone that was very close to her, so.
Yeah, I just keep hearing her say that they'll be there for the 60th, and I hear give a hug from us. Do you understand it? Wonderful. So they'll be there to celebrate, and the whole family's going to be there, even though it came from mom, especially if they were close. So that's wonderful. I hear the name Michelle. If anybody recognizes that, let me know. Not somebody in spirit, somebody has a message for her. She could be family or friends to you guys, someone you guys work with, somebody just walked in. Even though I'm with her parents, I heard a half. That's why I'm staring right here.
I just saw Michelle Slade today.
Okay, we'll take our time with it. They're not gonna take away from your loved ones. I just felt one of her loved ones walk in and I heard Kelly. I'm not gonna take away from anyone's loved ones in this group, but if I have energy in the end, I have a message from Michelle. That's all I heard. So
Okay.
we'll wait for it,
I
okay?
heard his name earlier.
He's here. I can feel him.
Okay.
He said he knows all about you guys talking about him. Do you understand it? So we'll take our time with it, okay? So I'm just gonna honor he's here. All right, let me get a couple more minutes with your mom. She's fun. Do you understand about the crochet blankets and quilt pieces? She just keeps stacking all the Afghans and crochet blankets.
She learned to crochet and then she crocheted and crocheted and crocheted.
I know. You know what she just said to me? She can shake her head all she wants. That was my way of loving them. And there's a lot of crochet pieces, not just those blankets, to in the family. And everybody's happy they have it. Do you understand it? That's her answer to you. There's a little bit of lighthearted teasing from her. I love that. Do you understand? It's so funny. I'm like, good job. But I could just see all this like Afghans and blankets and like everything just stacked in piles because she crocheted so much. Do you understand?
Even in my basement.
She's like, I would sit on the couch. I would sit on the couch in the front of the TV for hours and I would just sit and crochet. And I would watch my Golden Girls and Bob Barker and all the shows I loved. Do you understand her saying that? Sammy's Price is Right way back when and
Right.
that kind of stuff. So she's teasing. She's funny. And they're telling me she had a offbeat, dry-wit sense of humor.
Yes.
Do you understand it? So I know that some of that was a little misunderstood, but she was trying. Do you understand? She's like, I was trying, Kelly, and I'm like, I hear you, honey. She's funny. I hear the name Sally. Do you recognize that?
No.
She's standing behind her grandmother going, hi, Kelly, I'm Sally. But please remember, she
It
could
could
be
be
way
that.
older ancestor. She could also be a friend to your grandmother because those friends can be with them as well. And I just watched her walk in. She's an itty bitty thing. Well, I can't really say much. I'm 5'1". She looks like she's about 5'1", 5'2". I'm just gonna honor her. She just joined. I said, hi, Kelly, I'm Sally. So she just came in to support any extra time I have with you before I move her here because they're doing wonderful. Your mom's talking about more stuff going into the china cabinet or display cabinet and having to put more pieces in there for display.
Yeah, we're trying to get rid of some of that stuff, so, yeah.
It just means it's gonna be changing, honey.
Mhm.
Do you understand
Yeah.
it? And if you're gonna be rotating stuff out and putting other stuff in, if you're keeping that piece, it's her way of saying she's helping through that as well. Cause I can just feel you adding stuff. Do you
Mhm.
understand? Good. So just know she's helping with that. And it's just her way of saying you don't have to keep everything you have because she knows that you'll replace it with the things you love.
Yes.
And sometimes those cabinets can become cluttered and cluttered. And then instead of having like 8 things across the shelf, you could just have like 3 important pieces and put them on display a little bit in a different way. And do you have lights in the cabinet? Because she
Yes.
keeps talking about the lights, because she's like, just put them under the lights and they'll have a chance to display in a different way, Kelly, and she can display less, but they'll be more noticed. Good, I love that. And I hear about keeping the silver, having the silver.
We do have some of the
She's-
silver.
She's
yes.
saying she's happy for the silver pieces.
Mhm.
I said, do you want them to stay or go? She said, I want them to stay in the family. So that's one of her wishes, that some of the silver stays. Even if it gets passed down to somebody else in the family, they're saying to me, some of the silver is older than you
Yes, yes.
realize.
Mhm.
So I know not all of it's fully dated, and some of it goes back to history. And they're saying to me, it's some of the silver pieces are some of the oldest pieces in the family, and they want them to stay. That's great validation. Some of it dates back into the early 1900s.
Yeah,
So
I
some
have
of it's- some of
my
it's-
great grandmother's
Some of it's
pieces.
over 100 years old,
Yeah.
they're telling me. Or it's getting ready to hit 100 years old. I just told it's already around 100 years. That's fantastic validation. Sometimes if somebody doesn't have certain pieces like stamped or they don't know, sometimes they'll actually tell me the year they were created or the year they came within the family. I just hear back to the early 1900s. So you realize how old some of those pieces are, which is wonderful. Right, just be reminiscent with them, because I could continue on and on with them. They're trying to be respectful to everybody else in line, but I love they gave me personal stuff to notes them. I just keep hearing about the memory issues and not having a lot of lucid moments.
Right,
Do you understand it?
yes. Not my mom, but
How do you understand that, honey?
it's my grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Remember, they're all here,
Mhm.
okay? And they never told me who it was. I just heard there was dementia, Alzheimer's.
My
And I
grandmother.
hear the family did what they could for her. She didn't have very many lucid moments. It's something she struggled with for years. It got progressively worse. I can feel her dehydration, stopped eating and drinking. I can feel the marbleization of skin. So I never got to that point, and the dehydration put her into organ failure. And her body started to shut down from there. Do you understand it? But, so they're just validating what happened with it. Just so I can feel those health issues as far as what happened with her as well. Because you have so many grandparents and great-grandparents
No, it sounds like.
right behind your mom and dad. And not everybody that has dementia goes into that state of the marbleization and the
Right.
shutdown. Sometimes there can be other health issues, sometimes there can be heart attacks or other health issues that happen through the stage of the dementia. Not everybody gets to those end stages, and some people pass even before the marbleization happens. Do you understand it? So I had to feel like she went through the full extent with it. So she'll put me through it, and I can feel like all the purple in her skin,
Right.
like I'm watching her lay in bed. A lot of times when somebody passes that way, there's also those questions of how much did they really know as far as like what was going on around them? Did they hear everything? And what was your soul really experiencing? And what were they really taking in with the conversations and the movement in the room and things that were happening? A lot of times they really know almost everything that's happening. Even though the physical mind
Right.
is gone, they can still very much hear and sense and feel.
Mhm.
And so I know that she understood a lot more than you guys realized that she did. But she's saying to me she could feel the love, and that's all that mattered. And I just know that's going to mean a lot to other people in the family that would have been there in some of those final days or some final moments and probably have still carried those questions on their heart. You're not going to be able to answer that for them through the message, which was wonderful. Do you understand the connection with Laurel and Hardy?
No.
Okay. Please share it, because remember you got grandfathers,
right.
and I'm like, why am I sitting and watching Laurel and Hardy? And I just know it was like one of your grandfather's like favorite shows, but it doesn't mean somebody else in the family might not remember watching that with one of your granddads or understand that information,
Okay.
because you understood everything else except for that, and the 23 will make sense through the family. I'm like, he shows me Laurel and Hardy, and I just started to watch all this black and white Laurel and Hardy, and they're saying to me it's coming from one of my granddads. Because those grandparents are right behind their grandmother Sadie and that friend Sally, and that's okay. All right, let me get these final moments with mom and dad. Then we're going to come in over here to Roger and her grandmother and Joseph and this whole gang with their parents. They're doing great. who knows, we might go into 4 hours or more. I don't even know.
As long as you're comfortable.
I don't care. I'll get into it. I only have 3 coaching students tomorrow over Zoom, and then we have to drive to Baltimore so I can start packing my trailer up, and I'm a group of 10 on Sunday. And then we leave Monday morning to do 5 days of driving to take our trailer down to Florida, and then I'll tour in Florida and Georgia and Virginia, and then kind of head back. So it is all good. Yeah.
Would it be rude if I got a drink?
I don't care what you do.
Okay, I just
You
wanted to
can
make sure.
No,
I didn't want to mess you up.
no, you won't affect me one bit, honey. It is all good.
Not that important.
It is okay. By the way, does anybody recognize the name Melvin? Okay,
I feel
What
like
was the name?
Melvin. I'm gonna call him Mel.
I feel like I've seen it in his family.
Okay, that's okay. I just know he's here, honey. That's okay. I just heard, hi Kelly, I'm Melvin. There's also a gentleman by the name of, hold on, let me listen. Clyde, if anybody recognizes Clyde. That's unusual.
That's kind of funny. That's my great grandfather.
He just walked in. Hi Kelly, I'm Clyde. He's helping. Okay, doesn't matter how far they've been gone. I can get people that have been gone a couple 100 years. And he's like, hi Kelly, I'm Clyde. So some of these older ancestors are joining. There's a gentleman by the name of Martin. I'm going to honor him. There's a lady by the name of, I want to say like Joyce or Joycey. I just know her name was Joyce and people called her Joycey.
Did you say Joyce?
Yes. Were you hoping for her?
It's my aunt.
Okay, she's like,
Maybe.
I'm here. Call me Joycey. Some people did.
Okay.
Okay, so she's here, honey. There's also a mention of Doris, if anybody recognizes.
Doris is my grandmother.
Good.
I'm very close to her.
And Dolores as well. So somebody has a Dolores back their ancestry. So they're both here. Let me listen. Bernadette, that's unusual. I don't get that often. There's a lady by the name of Charlotte. That's unusual. Douglas. He's here. There's a gentleman by the name of Alvin. That's unusual, not that often. He's got to be pretty far back through somebody's history. There's a gentleman by the name of Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N. There's a gentleman coming called Chuck. So it just means that's that second Charles besides her Uncle Charlie I thought earlier, but he would have went by Chuck. Here, 3 more names, and we'll get a little bit more from your mom and dad, and I'll come here. Sorry, this is just more people walking in.
It's okay.
It's okay. My guides are holding their energy, so it doesn't take away from their messages. We're just respecting some of the people starting to join since I'm going to come over here. Because some of them are older ancestors like Melvin. And that grandfather, Clyde, back a couple generations for him. And he found his grandmother, Doris. Emmert, that's different. E-R-T, that's unusual. Alan, if anybody recognizes him. There's a lady by the name of Blanche, that's unusual, I'll get that off then. Sylvia. Two more. Francis. And there's a lady by the name of Ina. I-N-A. Ina. That's unusual. That's a very unusual name. Okay, they stopped naming her because she's pretty far back. Alright, let me get these last couple minutes with your parents. I love she talked about the furniture though, and the records and just some of the stuff because you're in the process of making these decisions. I love they give the blessing about the baby instead of 4 months. It's just fantastic validation. Is this the first time you've ever done this on me?
No.
Okay, just asking, because they're
No,
saying to me they're really happy about talking to me for the first time. Do you understand it? Good, so I love that. So I love you got some new souls. Okay, we can stay for just a few more minutes. I'm like, I know, because they're just trying to respect everybody else. Let me touch anything else I can. Okay, there's a happy birthday for this month. They're singing happy birthday. I heard we're celebrating